At times, it can be theater of the absurd, but I'll take 2 tickets. Bryson DeChambeau garnering the favor of this Pinehurst crowd with driver, putter, and all in between. Add up the excitement. It's a 3-shot lead headed to Sunday at the U.S. Open. Joe Musso alongside Shade Bacon as we welcome in CBS Sports senior golf writer Kyle Porter from Pinehurst. KP, another exciting day as the sun sets on round 3 at the U.S. Open. It's Bryson DeChambeau head and shoulders above the rest right now. What did you observe in his 3rd round?
Well, I thought it was a really interesting round. I thought what was most interesting about Bryson's round is I kind of bounced between his group and then the Rory group up ahead of them. This crowd, Joe, is I think they're rooting for Bryson. Like we were talking all day with everybody who's out here of like, I can't believe that the crowd has. This should be like, okay, everybody's trying to get Rory to his 5th major championship win, but it's really been a pro Bryson crowd, and he is absolutely feeling himself. Like, he's absolutely loving it. He's hitting great approach. He hit some great approach shots. Had that double on 16 that kind of unwound him a little bit, but he had some really amazing shots on the back 9. And every shot, every putt, he just turns to the crowd, gesticulates, he's screaming, he's leading USA chants. He thinks it's a Ryder Cup out here at Pinehurst, and everybody in the crowd is loving it.
Putter raised to the sky like he's at Whistling Straits. KP, I think we saw that relationship turn in real time that Sunday at Valhalla as we made our way around with Bryson, who's now in search of his 2nd U.S. Open title. Shane, what is a crowd worth on a day like tomorrow for Bryson if he does have the favor of that crowd behind him?
I think it's the biggest of any of the player in the field. I think it's the biggest deal for Bryson DeChambeau. I think he plays off of it. I think it's huge for his momentum. I think him getting the crowd behind him after having the crowd not be a huge fan of him years ago. I mean, you think about post-Bay Hill for Bryson DeChambeau. It wasn't guys chanting his name. It wasn't people out there hoping he'd go on to win a 2nd U.S. Open and another major title. That wasn't the way Bryson and the fans interacted. So I'd say above everybody else, Bryson's one that can play off this. Kyle, I know you're out there getting a chance to be in and around Bryson in the crowd. You're feeling them. You're hearing them. Would you agree that this is as helpful for Bryson as anybody else that's contending right now at Pinehurst?
I think so, and I think the other point, Shane, is it was really important for him to get in that final pairing with Matthieu Pavon because nobody's going to be rooting for Matthieu Pavon. I know he was the FedEx Cup leader after Torrey Pines earlier this year, and he's had kind of the year of his career. But it was important, I think, to keep Rory out of that final pairing, to keep, kind of anybody else, even somebody like a Hideki or a Cantlay, another American. You know, it's been a very much a pro, like USA chants all over the place. And I think it was really important to get somebody that was not even going to be a factor in terms of a crowd favorite in that final pairing for Bryson on Sunday.
Well, if it would have been Bryson and McIlroy in that final pairing, they would have had to carry the TrackMan around behind them and just give us those. Maybe that's our playoff this year. If it's them to just best ball speed wins. We'll see what Sunday plays out as Rory will have to give chase here as he is a few back of DeChambeau and, as you said, not in that final pairing. KP, I asked Shane earlier, and I'll ask it to you the same way. What does Rory need to do different as he gets out of the car and walks to the course on Sunday? If he's going to roll out the same game plan, he's going to get the same result. Where do you want to see him change on Sunday?
Gosh, if I had a nickel for every time somebody said, what does Rory need to do different, then I would be on vacation somewhere and not on this show right now. I mean, I think it comes down. I thought the thing that stood out, people talk a lot. I know Shane was talking about his poor putting and, that's the thing that kind of can go at some of these major championships late in the week. I thought his approach play was not very good on Saturday, especially late in the day. That back 9, he had some really just kind of swirly irons. I mean, the one he hit on 17, it was that into that right bunker. He was on a down slope. It was a really, really difficult bunker shot. That was an awful iron shot. It was really bad. And, that's a point where you got to get in the house and get into that final pairing, and he just couldn't do it. So to me, it's kind of what he talked about at the beginning of the week, Joe, of, hey, I got to play the middle of the green, and be conservative with my iron play. I thought he did a poor job of that, or at least a poor job of executing it late in the day. And that's something that has to turn around for him to have a chance on Sunday.
Yeah, all but one of his bogeys this week have come on the par threes. He talked about it after, Kyle. I mean, he said, I played the par threes poorly today. And I think you nailed it. I think that aggressiveness from Rory McIlroy at times where he's out there trying to make a birdie on a par three versus the mentality coming in to Pinehurst number 2. I do ask you this, because I was thinking about St. Andrews, Kyle, and I was thinking about LACC, and either he was leading or he was a shot off the lead. Rory can go out tomorrow and play relatively aggressive. Do you feel like that's the right mentality for Rory, or do you think he's got to still lean into, I'm going to play Pinehurst like I played the first 3 rounds and see if Bryson gives shots back?
I think at least for the front 9, he's got to play it like that, Shane. I think that Bryson is playing a type of golf that, man, how many 10, 15 footers does he hit this week? And if you're Rory and you know that those aren't going to fall in for the entire week for Bryson. And if they are, you're just going to lose anyway. Like, it's just not your week. It's just Bryson's week. So I think front 9, you've got to play conservative, see what Bryson does, see what happens, and then you can let it rip on the back if you need to.
It is a small pool of players that can catch Bryson DeChambeau on Sunday. Rory McIlroy has the best chance to do that of any. It's a fool's errand, but one we must run. A pick to win, Shane Bacon. Is it Bryson, or does someone close that gap?
I just think the lead is too big. I mean, I just feel like the way Bryson's playing, the bounce backs, as we discussed earlier, makes a bogey early in the round, bounces right back with a birdie, makes the double at 16, hits one of the best shots of the day at the 17th. The crowd, the environment, how pumped up he is, how close he's been in the majors this season, the putt he made, you think about last month. I think all of this plays in to Bryson going for U.S. Open number 2, and it feels like he's in complete control even when he's not.
KP, that was my vote pre-week. That'll be my vote as we head into the final round. Your vote on this day.
Yeah, I think Bryson is the smart pick. I'm gonna go off the board here. I'm gonna say Patrick Cantlay wins the U.S. Open. He's kind of coming. I mean, everybody's gonna be talking about Bryson, Rory going into the final day or into that final 2 pairings. Cantlay was really solid, I thought, for most of the day on Saturday, and kind of sneaked his way into one of those final 2 pairings. He's been playing. I mean, he's been hitting it pretty good, and I feel like it's gotten better as the week has gone on. So I'll say Patrick Cantlay, a little bit of a long shot, gets it done over Rory and Bryson on Sunday.
Cantlay's best ever finish at a major championship, T3 2019, at the PGA Championship, could be a point of distinction on his career, and getting it done on the tail end of his best friend Xander Schauffele at the PGA. What a day it would be. Anyway it shakes out, we got a good one coming on Sunday. Kyle Porter, Shane Bacon, we appreciate you fellas as always. And don't forget, the conversation continues on the First Cut podcast. Kyle Porter, Rick Gaiman, the whole gang, taking you under the ropes and into the action each and every week on tour, including this major week at the U.S. Open. Download, subscribe, and enjoy the First Cut podcast.